All right, so as I mentioned, this is about leveraging LinkedIn for your job search. So welcome to this workshop presented. My name is Christy Vanderhoof, and I'm a career advisor at the Tri-Valley Career Center in Pleasanton. And by the way, if at any point it seems like what I'm talking about is not on your screen, please just unmute yourself and let me know, because sometimes I forget to re-share my screen when I alternate back and forth between the PowerPoint and the LinkedIn website itself. So I talked a little bit, I mentioned that this workshop is for someone that already has a LinkedIn profile, but if you don't yet, I can direct you to other resources that we have. So these are just some reminders that you want to work on in your profile. If you haven't yet, you want to, these are the items that really make a first impression on somebody when seeing your profile online. So they look at your photo. So you want to have a professional headshot or professional looking headshot. Doesn't necessarily need to be something that you paid a lot of money for. You want to have a header that shows a header photo that shows something about you. You want to have a customized headline. And then you want to have your about or your summary section filled out. If you want, you can put your contact information in your about section, and then you can also make your profile public. So I'm going to jump to LinkedIn now. Let's see. So going to LinkedIn, show you my current profile. So the things I was just talking about, you want to have a headshot. This is an actual professional headshot, but like I said, you don't have to, you can just be professional looking. Doesn't mean to be something that you paid a lot of money for. And then you have your header photo, which is like I have this mountains photo here. You have your headline, so you want to customize your headline. And usually your default headline is just like you can see here. For this woman, her default headline is just her current position. But you can add more to that to show what some of your expertise is in and what kind of roles you're looking for. And then you want to have this about section filled out to tell them more about you. So those are the first things that anyone sees when they look for you on LinkedIn. And you can also adjust your privacy settings. So if you ever want to edit what people can see, you can go to edit public profile and URL. And then if you don't want them to see certain things, then you can edit that. So this is what we're going to cover today. We'll talk a little bit about privacy settings. I'll talk about the analytics that LinkedIn provides you and how you can use those to your advantage. And how to use the advanced search functions, as well as networking, using the different job search filters and LinkedIn apply features and some of the other job search features that are on LinkedIn. So this is an example of how you can edit your privacy. So when you go into LinkedIn, you can click on your profile and then you can click on settings and privacy here. And you can click on visibility to decide how you want people to be able to view your profile. So you have all these different options in here. You can also look at data privacy to see how LinkedIn is using your data, and you can change some of the data. Like, for example, I believe that I turned this off. So I didn't want my profile to show up in Resume Assistant within Microsoft Word. So these are some things that you can take a look at in order to set your preferences on LinkedIn. And I will say, if you're not ready for people to view your LinkedIn profile yet, then go to this visibility option, go to the profile viewing options, and you can decide how you want people to view you if they're not signed into LinkedIn. But right now, this is what people see. They see my name, they see my photo, and then they see my header or my headline and my location. So, so that's a little bit about privacy settings. There's an open to work feature that you can also put in on LinkedIn. So if you go here to the profile, go back to LinkedIn. Under here, under open to work, you can click on this and edit. And you can let people know what type of work you're open to. I've just done this kind of as an experiment to work with these different features. And right now, I just have this information being shared only with recruiters. But if I want everyone in my network to know that I'm open to work, I can click on this button here. And then I can choose all LinkedIn members. And you can see there's this little green banner that will show up that says open to work. And so that lets not just recruiters know that I'm looking for work, but also any of my other contacts on LinkedIn will know that. And so they could share job opportunities with me or let me know about an opportunity that came up in their company that I might be interested in. And the reason why you might want to do that, these are just some statistics. The open to work feature has been proven to increase your outreach. So you're 20% more likely to receive messages from your connections, and you're 40% more likely to receive in-mail from recruiters. So any questions so far? All right, so analytics. This is in this section here, where it says analytics, and they tell you that it's private to you. So I'll go here now. So it's down here where it says analytics, private to you. So that means no one else can see this. But this basically tells me how many people are viewing my profile, how many people are engaging with the posts that I put in, and then how often I'm showing up in search results. So this is kind of an interesting thing to do to sort of see how often are you showing up in results? Where do these people work? What were some of the job titles that people used to find you? And to see if those titles are linked to the types of jobs you want, because depending on the keywords that you put in your profile, that will determine how easily people can find you. So that's one part. You can also see, how many people viewed your profile. You can't see everybody that viewed your profile. Usually you can only see some of them. If you can only see all of them if you get LinkedIn Premium. But you can see some of them that looked you up and get a sense of who is viewing your profile, what they're connected to. So this is just helpful for you so that if you make changes to your profile, you can notice if there's any difference in how recruiters are finding you. Like, are more recruiters able to find you? Are fewer people finding you? So that's one of the benefits of this. You can also see how effective your posts are. So you can see how many people saw your posts, and you can compare that as well. So those are the analytics. Then now I want to talk a lot about search. So there's a lot of different ways that you might be using LinkedIn. One would be to find people that are working in your field, or find people that work at a company that you're interested in working for. So someone throw out a name of a company. It doesn't have to be a company you want to work for, but just any any name of a company that you are interested in. We'll just put it in the search bar. You can put it in chat, or you can say it.
You could just put Google. I mean, that's why.
Okay. Yeah, so let's put Google. Okay. And then what we can do here is, let's say I want to see, is there anyone I know that works at Google, right? So then I can go to people. And then automatically LinkedIn's going to pull up people that are probably most active on Google. And then some people that I'm connected to, either like this is someone who I'm not directly connected to, but a lot of people I know are connected to him. So if I want to see if any of my first level connections are at Google, so people I'm directly connected to, these would be like my friends. If you're thinking of Facebook terms, I can put in first and see who's there. And I can filter for all kinds of things. So I can also filter for, maybe I only want people in the Bay Area. Maybe I only want people that currently work at Google. Maybe I went to a certain school and I want to find alumni at that school, certain areas. So you can filter for all of these things. And then this way you can find, maybe you want to connect with a recruiter at a certain company, or maybe you just want to learn more about a certain company. So then I could say, oh, okay, let's see, Jerome knows Cheryl. Let me reach out to Cheryl and ask her if she could introduce me to Jerome. And I could talk to him about how to get what it's like to work at Google and what the hiring process is like, or something like that. So you can do this with people. Maybe you are looking to get in, maybe you want to find people that are doing the same kind of work you're doing. Maybe you want to be a project manager or something. So you can put in the word project manager. You can put in people again, and then you can see how many connections do I have who are project managers. And maybe I could see if I could meet up with them and ask them more about what it's like to be a project manager. So you can use LinkedIn as a way to explore a certain career and to find people that way. So that's one of the benefits of using these filters. And the reason why we do this is, one, there's all these wonderful people out here that you can share knowledge with on LinkedIn. You can share information about your profession. And then another reason is, especially if you're applying for a job at a large company, your application can sometimes get lost. But if you reach out to the hiring manager, you find them on LinkedIn and reach out to them and say, hey, I saw this job at your company. I'm really interested in it. I wanted to let you know I just submitted my application. Or you reach out to a friend that works at that company and you're on good terms with that friend and you say, hey, I just applied for this job at your company. Would you feel comfortable recommending me for the position, right? So that people connection can give you an edge in your job search. So that's another reason to use these filters and contact people.
Could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay. You may be planning to do this anyway, but when you called up the options 1, 2, and 3, you didn't say anything that I heard about options 2 or 3. Were you?
Okay. Yeah, I can explain that more. So what this means is, okay, so all of these people are people I am directly connected to. So these would be like, in Facebook terms, these would be like my friends, right? And then, but let's say that like I don't know anyone who's a project manager. So then what I can do is I can say, I can go to second level. And so then these are people that I'm not directly connected to, but they're basically like friends of friends. So I am not a friend or connection of Elisa Meza, but Robert Skip Dosa is a direct connection of mine. And so if I want to meet her, I could have, depending on how well I know Skip, I can say, hey, Skip, I see that you're connected to Elisa on LinkedIn. I'm wondering how well you know her. I'm wondering if you'd be able to connect me with her because I'd like to learn more about being a project manager or something like that, right? So that's the second level. And then the third level is people that are like, maybe you don't have any direct connection to them at all. So, so I don't even know why that didn't show up with anything, but those would be people where I don't have a friend or friend of friend or anyone. Or they might be a friend of a friend of a friend, right? But getting more distant. So that's the difference. Yeah, thank you for asking about that. Any other questions so far? All right. So I want to tell you a little story about how this worked. I met I'm connected with someone on LinkedIn who I never met in person, but he just did a search for this, which is a GCDF. It's a certain type of certification for people in our field. It's Global Career Development Facilitator. He did that search. He found me somehow through that, and he said, hey, can I have a one-on-one meeting with you to ask you more about this certification? Or I think he maybe just messaged me and asked me a couple questions about it. I answered his questions. We got connected on LinkedIn. Later on, he asked me if he could do kind of a 30-minute interview with me just to ask me more about how I'd use the certification in my field. And yeah, and so we set up a Zoom. And I've never, ever met him in real life. I've only known him through LinkedIn. So, and it's great. I mean, he does some of the same kind of work I do. So I love reading his posts, his articles. And so that's the beauty of LinkedIn, right? There's all these great people out there that you can get connected to that you might not meet otherwise. Okay, so yeah, first level connections, built people filters. We kind of went through this. Okay, the next part, leveraging your network. So this is more, these are some other ways that you can connect with people. Your ultimate goal is to eventually have 500 connections on LinkedIn. It's taken me about 4 years to get there. So I know it takes a while, but you can, as I mentioned, you can find people you don't know, but that work in your field. You can go to alumni. So I'm going to talk about alumni search, finding people that went to the same school as you did. You can do many other things to connect with people. So when you do alumni search, basically you can go to your profile directly. And right now I have my UC Santa Cruz as my school, main school, because that's the most local one. But yeah, I can click on any of these icons in the education section, and I can go ahead and go here, and then I can click on alumni. And this is, by the way, this is why it's good for you to put any of your education in LinkedIn, because you can get connected to people that you went to school with. You could type in a keyword, like if I want, I could type in my major. I majored in poetry at UC Santa Cruz, right? And I could put in the years that I attended. Or you could type in a company. Maybe you want to see if there are any alumni from UC Santa Cruz that work at Kaiser Permanente. And so you can put in that, you know, you can put in the years that you attended. And then it's like I need to do that again. And then you can find people in the San Francisco Bay Area that attended the university at the same time you did and who work at that company that you're interested in. So depending on how large or small your campus was where you attended, it might be, you might have to do a little more filtering, but as you can see, this is another way to find people and connect with them. And, then you can just say, hey, I would say, hey, I'm a fellow banana slug. I noticed that you also attended UC Santa Cruz and you've been working at Kaiser. I'd like to learn more about what it's like to work there or how you got started or something like that. So yeah, this is kind of what it looks like when you do a search using different filters to find people. And then another important thing about LinkedIn that will help your profile go up higher when recruiters search for you is staying engaged on LinkedIn. So that means that you don't just create a profile and then never log into LinkedIn, but that you log into LinkedIn regularly. And it doesn't have to be something that you do all the time. Like if you're not a big fan of social media, that's fine. It can just be you log in for 10 minutes a day and just see what people are posting, comment on one thing, and that's all, right? But you're still engaged on LinkedIn to some extent. And that way, when a recruiter goes to your profile, they can see how active you've been on LinkedIn. So when they look at your profile, they can see your activity down here. And so they can see how long ago it was that you posted on LinkedIn. So that, so if you've been active at least within the last week or so, then that is better than not having been on LinkedIn at all for a long time.
Question. When you say being active, does it count just logging in, or do you actually have to post something? Can they only track this if you actually post?
Yeah, so activity is usually just things you posted or things just that you liked or like where you put an icon there. So it can be that, it can be something where you actually wrote a message to somebody. So yeah, basically it's when you're in the home page, you're going in and you're using one of the icons, but I think commenting is even better. Of course you want to read the whole thing that you're commenting on before you comment, but yeah, that's a good way to stay connected.
But it's not enough just to log in, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good, you can get industry news. The other thing you can do is you can follow companies that you would be interested in working for. So a recruiter can also see if you're following their company. So you can search for any company, like, for example, you can search for Google, right? And then you can go there, and then usually I'm already following Google, but there would be a follow button, basically.
Okay.
And then if they release any press releases or anything, then whatever they release will come up in your newsfeed as well. So let's see. Okay, and then another great thing about LinkedIn is connecting with groups. So you can connect with anyone in your industry. So you can search for groups. So I'll show you kind of what the groups look like. Actually, let's see if I'm in home. So these are all the groups that I belong to. And some of them are schools that I attended. One of them is my current workplace. And then, so like if you follow our group, then you can see any of the things that we are posting and sharing. I'm connected to people that work in my industry, workforce development. So then I can see what kinds of events there are going on in my field. or get access to interesting content like podcasts or articles. And then I can also find out, sometimes people post jobs. So I can also connect with people that way. So, and then the benefit of groups is that you can also message anyone in the group for free. So normally on LinkedIn, you can only message people who you're directly connected to. But in a group, you can click on the, go up here to where the members are and click show all. And you'll see that now you have access to all 18,000 members of the group, and you can send a direct message to any one of them. So maybe they posted something in the group and you want to ask them more about it, you can find them this way and message them directly. And you don't have to have LinkedIn Premium in order to do that. So it's just a way to stay up to date in your profession, being part of these groups. And the way you can find groups is you can, the way I found some of these was just looking at the profiles of other people who work in my field and seeing which groups they belong to, and then joining the same groups. You can also just do search for groups. Like I found one that's called San Francisco Bay Area jobs or something by just doing a search for that. Let's say you're in the field of marketing, you put in marketing, San Francisco Bay Area, and then you go over here to the groups tab, and then you see all these jobs, or all these groups for people in the field of marketing in the Bay Area. And then you just go to one of the groups, and if you want to join, you click join. So that's another way to meet people and stay up to date. And I'd say for me, the most beneficial thing about groups is just finding out about conferences or, articles or events or things like that. So if all this is feeling overwhelming, which it can, I suggest that you look at this pyramid and start at the bottom. So start by just going on, once your profile is ready, you're ready to share your profile publicly, start connecting with people that you already know, or people that you used to work with or used to go to school with. And then start doing a search for your occupation and your industry and connecting with other people in that same field. Then start searching for people in the same occupation who are maybe in a different industry. Connect with target companies. Look for recruiters at that company who you could connect with. Connect with alumni from schools that you attended. And we talked a little bit about the importance of being active by commenting on people's posts or hashtags. There's also this section in LinkedIn when you first go in that's LinkedIn news. So these are kind of news what are a lot of people talking about right now. And so you can click on this just to stay up to date in business news. They usually link to multiple articles. And then at the bottom, you can see people's reactions to this. So those are things you can comment on or read. And then also in here. And I'm going to show you one of my previous professors. She's really active on LinkedIn. She works in marketing, so I feel like she's also good at like social media and things like that. So you can see she has her her headline customized and everything. And then let's see, let's look at her activity. So you can see all of her recent activity. You can see how she posted an article that she wrote recently that was published, how she's how she's responding to something happening in current events. So some of the different things that she's doing, but one of the things that I think is most effective, she uses hashtags for people that are interested in the same content. And then she usually includes images in a lot of her posts. And I really like her posts because I feel like she's very authentic online. Like it can feel really superficial. I really appreciate her authenticity, and also just the way she's bringing up issues or current events, starting conversations on LinkedIn. And I think one of the things that someone does well when they post on LinkedIn is that they always respond to every single comment that people give. So you can see that she responds to every single comment that someone's left on her post. And I will get to hashtags later, so I'll talk about those as well. But I think the important thing is just to be thoughtful when responding to articles, be professional. Don't focus on promoting yourself, but more just on engaging with the content or congratulating others. A lot of this is just common sense, right? Being polite, using correct grammar. One thing you will notice, like if we go back to Amira's posts, you can see she doesn't have really dense blocks of text. So she breaks things up into shorter paragraphs whenever she posts. So you can see how she does that here, right? So just because whenever you post something, people can only read the first couple lines. So you want to attract their attention with that. And then you can add more. And another thing is if you use all caps, it kind of feels like you're shouting at people. So that's one thing I would also recommend avoiding when making comments. So try it out. If you just want to say congratulations or some really simple things, that's fine too, but the more you kind of just observe the way people are interacting on LinkedIn, the more you can get comfortable with it as well. Okay, so that's a little bit more about staying engaged on LinkedIn. These are just some other reasons why you would want to do that. Kind of helps you keep it top of mind. People keep seeing you active on the website. Helps you meet more people. If you're posting things regularly, you also look like you have an authority on the subject. And then you can also show your personality to people. And another thing you can do on LinkedIn, I was talking about the importance of connecting with hiring managers or people whenever you can, or recruiters. And if you see that anyone's looked at your profile, if you do get LinkedIn Premium, you can get the free trial for 30 days. And you can actually write back to anyone that's viewed your profile recently. And send them a message like this.
Could you address the advantages of LinkedIn Premium? I'm not sure. I'm hearing from some people that it's really beneficial and we really should do it. I'm hearing from other people that it's not worth it and that you can get everything without paying the money every month.
I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get there. I
Okay,
have a
all right.
slide on some of the advantages. Yeah, that's a good question. I've never paid for LinkedIn Premium, but I know some people that have really enjoyed it. So yeah, that is a good question. And I will say it's scary to reach out to a recruiter on LinkedIn as well, but this is, if it's helpful, this is the sample message that you could send to a recruiter when you find them on LinkedIn. And then these are some email samples or message samples for contacting friends or friends of friends on LinkedIn. So as I was talking about, let's see, this is actually a great article just for general job search strategies. But let's see if we go down here. So they have sample messages if it's someone you know personally on LinkedIn and you're interested in a job at their company. Sample message if it's a second degree connection or friend of a friend. What would you write to them, to your friend, or what would you write to that person directly? And then what do you do if you have absolutely no connections at a company, but you want to try to connect with someone at that company because you're interested in working there? And so these are some great samples and ideas on how to message people on LinkedIn, especially if it seems daunting and you don't know what to say. These can kind of get you started.
Christy, is this included in the PowerPoint that you're sending?
Yeah, so I'll send you a PDF of this.
Okay.
So that you can then look at these resources more.
Thank you.
Okay. Job filters. So I was just talking a lot about networking, all the different ways you can connect with people on LinkedIn for different reasons. Job filters and alerts. So in LinkedIn, when you go to the briefcase, this is all of the job stuff. And you can search for any job by putting in a certain job title. So someone want to give me a job title? What's a type of job you're looking for?
Program manager is one that has, I'm sure it has got a million entries.
Yeah, and it's in all different industries, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so different things you can do for location. If you're looking for remote work throughout the US, you could just put in remote. If you're looking for your current location, you can put in the city or state or the whole Bay Area. You can put in that. Then you can go over to all filters, which will be really valuable for program management because program managers work in so many different industries. And a program manager at a nonprofit cannot necessarily jump in to be a program manager at a corporation, depending on the role. So, and vice versa. So the other thing you can filter for is how recently was the job posted, the level of experience, the company. You can get a sense of the types of companies that hire program managers. Maybe you only want full-time roles. Maybe you only want remote roles. And then you can see the industry, right? So maybe you want to be a program manager in IT. So then you would choose or anywhere in technology. So you choose software development, technology, maybe business consulting, right? So you can choose your industry, you can choose your job function. So would you be more in marketing or would you be more in information technology? So you can narrow it down that way. The title. And then you can also, if you want to find jobs where there are not a lot of applicants, you can say under 10 applicants. And that just means that under 10 people have clicked on this link in LinkedIn to apply for the job. This button helps you find jobs where you're already connected to people that work at those companies. And they'll also tell you, so you can see 7 alumni from UC Santa Cruz, where I attended, work at the trade desk in San Jose. But if you only want jobs where you have someone in your network, you can turn on this button. Fair chance employer, this is for someone that's been impacted by the justice system. This is these are employers that are open to hiring someone with a conviction on their record. Salary, you know, any salary level or higher, all these different things you can filter for. And once you've set up what you want, so right now I have way too many results, right? I have 21,883. So let me start putting in some different filters, and then that narrows it down to 236, right? So now I get 236, and now I have more of a sense of what I'm looking for. And then if I like this alert, I like the kind of results I'm getting from it, I can set up an alert. And what that means is that every day or every week, I'm going to get an alert for this. So right now it's sending me a daily, it would be sending me a daily email. And then if I log into LinkedIn every day, it would give me a notification when I log into LinkedIn about new jobs with these filters. And then if I don't want to do that, like, then I can edit it. Maybe I only want to get them once a week. Or I can also, let's see, let me go back there. Or I can also delete it altogether, right? If I'm tired, I'm getting too many alerts, I can just delete that. Okay, and then so when you have a job that you receive, you have some different options. Sometimes they'll send you recommendations just randomly as well, based on what's in your profile. But let me go back to that program manager. So a lot of times on LinkedIn, when you go to apply for a job, if you click the apply button, it's going to take you to the company's website. So, and you can decide whether or not you want to share your profile with the employer when you apply for the job. But it's generally going to take you directly to the company website so that you can apply. And sometimes there's something called Easy Apply. Let's see, let me filter for that. So if I want to turn Easy Apply on, then it's only going to show me the results where there's Easy Apply, where you can apply with your LinkedIn profile by uploading a resume and sharing your profile with them. And I'll talk about the pros and cons of doing this. So I think those were the main things I wanted to share. Any questions about the job alerts or job filters? And by the way, this is also a great way for you to figure out what kinds of keywords to put in your LinkedIn profile. So if you're targeting a program manager position at an IT company, then you would want to look at about 10 of those job descriptions on LinkedIn and identify what are the most common keywords you're seeing in those job descriptions. And then you'll insert those words somewhere in your profile, usually in the About section, and maybe 1 or 2 of those keywords in your headline. So you can also use this as a research tool and not just as a job search tool. Okay, LinkedIn Apply. So it was showing you that LinkedIn Apply, you can go externally to the website, or you can apply just using your LinkedIn profile and a resume. If you do this, you want to make sure that you have all of these components here. So you want to have everything in your profile really well matched to the position. And then I would definitely recommend attaching a tailored resume. So a resume that's tailored to that particular job. And I would advise you not to use Easy Apply, or only use Easy Apply if your profile checks all the boxes. So if your profile, I wouldn't recommend Easy Apply for this person, because you can see there's a lot of skills that their profile is not matching up with. It's also not a good idea to use Easy Apply if it's your dream job, or if you're pivoting into a new career, because it's just harder for someone to visibly see that using this feature. So those are some other just caveats about the Easy Apply feature. One other feature on LinkedIn that I encourage you to check out is the virtual job interviews. And so you can get to that just by going directly to the briefcase icon. And then under interview prep, you'll see that they have the 26 most common interview questions and sample answers to that question. And then you can also record yourself answering that question and get feedback on your answer to that question from artificial intelligence, from a robot. I've never tried it, but the thing I like about this is getting to see a lot of different examples. And then there's a little video giving you guidance. So this is a great resource. Also, you can take skills assessments to show your level of skill using a certain software, and then your results can get posted to your profile if you earn a certain score. I'm not a big fan of their resume tools, but I know that they've changed some of them. You can also get videos on certain things. So these are just good things to browse. Let's see. And then just a couple other miscellaneous things for you to know about. Hashtags. So hashtags are kind of like a keyword or phrase that helps you find other content that's on that same topic. And so if I go back to here, so right now I'm following some hashtags. So you can see I'm following these. So I'm following workforce development hashtag. So basically what happens with this hashtag is anyone who uses this hashtag in any of their content, so you can see they have that here, that means that this content is going to pop up. It's kind of like this is a channel, basically. So this content pops up on the workforce development channel whenever somebody uses the workforce development hashtag. And so this basically helps me connect with content in this area. And there are specific channels. And so also when you're posting something, you can add hashtags, right? So you can click add hashtag, and if there is a hashtag or channel for that particular word, you can choose that hashtag. So you don't really invent hashtags, like you don't really create them. You're kind of looking for Like, let's say I'm gonna post a job fair. And so I'm gonna look for the job fair hashtag, right? So, okay, I see that there's a job fair hashtag and there's a job fair 22, right? So maybe I'm going to use both of those. I'll use job fair and job fair 2022. So I'm looking for already existing hashtags that are related to my content that's telling people that are also looking for job fairs that, hey, I'm posting a job fair. So if you're also looking for job fairs, here's my content. And I think you can see, yeah, so you can see how those are used down here. Just gets more visibility of anything that you post, but you don't want to overdo it. Generally about four hashtags is a good recommendation. This is another cool feature about LinkedIn if you have the app on your phone. When you open up the app, you'll see in the search bar, there's this little 4 squares. If you click on that, it's going to take you to this QR code screen. So if you go to a networking event, you can click on that. You can share your QR code with someone, and then they can scan it and they can add you on LinkedIn right away. It's very convenient for someone like my former manager, Sarah Holzklau, who had a last name that might be kind of difficult to spell. And so she could just pull up her QR code. Someone could then scan the code and immediately add her on LinkedIn. If you're at a job fair and you want to try to find people on LinkedIn who are at the job fair, you can try the Find Nearby feature if you have Bluetooth enabled. And so, yeah, those are some other things. If you want to learn any more about LinkedIn, these are some additional resources that I encourage you to check out. If you do look up Google or YouTube, just note the date because LinkedIn does change quite often. And yeah, and then someone asked, I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'll answer your questions. Oops.